So let me just do this. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm actually going to just get started because a lot of you are already coming in. So again, I'm going to ask where you guys are from. There's someone from Michigan. That is awesome. I don't think I've been to Michigan. Have I been to Michigan? If I did, it was when I was younger, and I barely remember. It was maybe like for like a family reunion or something. Let me just do one more thing, and then what I'm going to do in about 1 minute. Hold on, reload. So if you guys are seeing a message, well, obviously you guys aren't seeing it because you guys are already here. But I want to send a text to everyone. If you guys are not able to log in, yeah, I would say, all right, let me just send one message to everyone who is, all right, hold on. People are having issues logging in. Give me like 2 seconds. And I'm going to make sure that you guys are, wow, there's actually a lot of you in here, which is pretty cool because most of the time webinars have a low attendance rate. You guys are awesome for actually taking the time to sit here with me. All right, let me just send out one more text to you guys for those who are having issues logging in. I want to make sure that you guys, for those who are not in, that they reload their page. So I'm going to send out an instruction. You guys might get the text too, but try let me see, if you are not in the session, or if you are not, I'm getting inboxes from you guys. Hold on. Okay. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and send this message, and I'm going to get started. And you guys will see my screen, and you guys will see. All right. So let me just go into questions. You guys, okay, so there's people chiming in from Florida, from DC, from Philly. Yes, finally someone from Philly. Who in here is from Jersey? I'm actually from Jersey. I want to see who in here is from New Jersey. That would be dope. Let me see. In case you cannot access the webinar, try the reload button. Going on now. This is because I'm actually going to close this chat window. So if you guys respond to my text, I will not be able to see it because I'm going to close this chat and I'm going to actually start the webinar now. Because there's 18 of you guys in here. That's enough to get started. There is no reason to hold off any longer. All right. So let me just make sure this is sent. And this is just to help other people get in the session. So boom. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my Facebook tab. And then I know people are trying to reach out to me through Facebook, but they should have reached out to me earlier and they didn't. So, all right. Let me know if you guys can see. You guys can see me, obviously. Let me see. I'm going to actually open my screen right now so you guys can see. Let me know if you guys can see my screen, my computer screen, before I begin. Can you guys see a big giant slide that says how musicians can make money online? Okay, perfect. All right, so it's all working. It's great. So, and the other thing too, I just wanted to say this. I've been having some internet issues. So if for some odd reason I get disconnected, just stick with me. What I will do is I will reload the Wi-Fi and then I will just log in. So just do not leave the chat or do not leave the webinar if some internet issues come up. So I'm going to stay on top of that. But all right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me just close out of this really quick. Hold on. All right, that was just my all right, so let me see. All right, so you guys can see the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn off my face so you guys can just see the screen because I kind of want you guys to focus on that, and then we can get started. All right, perfect. So today's session is going to be about how musicians can make money online. And obviously it's relevant to what's happening now because I'm hearing stories of musicians losing gigs and people are kind of freaking out. And the thing is, there's more than one way to make money. And the reality is, when it comes to doing gigs, gigs are good, even if they're continuous, but they really should not be the only means of income that you should be having come in, because of situations like this, where if you lose gigs, you don't want to be that person that is scrambling to make other things work. You should already have other things in place. And I'm going to go over those different revenue streams in this webinar. So I'm not going to go into full presentation mode with this PowerPoint, because I want to be able to see what you guys are saying, and I kind of want to be able to see what I'm doing here. All right, so some housekeeping rules. Make sure your phone is on silent. Mine is on silent. I know people are going to be reaching out to me, asking me questions. Again, I'm not going to be able to talk to them because I will be in here with you guys. All right, so the other thing, some people are saying it's not working. Check your email. So the other thing is eliminate any distractions. So if you got the TV on, you got the the radio on, make sure you turn it off, because I'm going to be sharing a bunch of information with you guys and you do not want to miss it. Hold on. You guys are, because people are texting me saying that it's not working, and I'm trying to help them out here. All right. And the other thing is, have a pen and paper ready to take notes. Again, I'm probably going to be going over things once, so you don't want to miss a piece of information that might be extremely helpful to you. Check your email. So here's the thing. We're going to go over schedule. So I'm going to go over an introduction of who I am. Some of you guys know who I am. Some of you guys are hearing about me for the first time. So I kind of want to just give you guys a brief scope of my background in music and why I'm pretty much qualified to talk about what I'm talking about. So again, the next thing we're going to talk about is how to discuss, or I'm going to discuss, multiple online revenue streams for musicians, particularly a few things that I find near and dear to my heart. Hosting virtual music lessons. I'm also going to be talking about one topic that was a hot topic in my when I asked you guys what topics you want me to discuss. One that was highly requested was publishing online courses. So another thing I'm going to talk about is, you can have all these things set up, but what does it mean if you cannot get traffic to your site? So I'm going to talk about different ways to get traffic to your websites, to your different services, being able to set up your traffic on autopilot, being able to explore free and paid marketing methods. And I'm also going to talk about how you guys can continue to learn from me. And I'm also going to have a Q&A at the end. All right, people are telling me they didn't get the email. Try checking spam. This technical thing is getting on my nerves. All right, so an introduction about who I am. Of course, my name is Ayana Webb. I am a musician myself, and alongside of performing, I also teach private and online piano lessons. I sell courses online. I actually have two websites. One is called the Musical Web, another is called the Digital Web. And the Musical Web focuses on teaching people how to learn piano via online courses. And the Digital Web is more like a music business site where I train musicians how to do basically what I'm teaching you guys now, how to build your brand as a musician, how to make a thriving living as a musician, which is different than just surviving. I want you guys to be able to thrive and be able to scale. All right. Just kind of just checking to make sure I'm looking in now, kids. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so my backstory is I started out going to school for music. My first major actually was accounting, and I didn't like the internship. I didn't like the fact that, kind of going to a job that I hated was going to be something that I was going to be doing for the next 40 years of my life. So I realized that I've always wanted to do music, but I've been running from it because people were like, oh, you're going to be a starving artist, blah, 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 blah. But at some point, I'm like, I'd rather be starving and happy than to make money and be miserable. So I switched my major to music, but obviously at that point I had to look for another job. And my first option was to try to apply the job as a private instructor. But the problem was no one was hiring me because I was still in school. I was competing with people who had master's degrees and PhDs and people who've been teaching piano for 30,000 years. And, it kind of forced me into this corner where I was like, you know what? What is stopping me from just starting my own business in terms of teaching my own students? Who's going to stop me from, basically starting my own business, teaching my own students? So within 2 to 3 months of starting, out of desperation, but I guess it's those situations that, when you're under pressure, that's when you tend to perform the best. And, someone said degree. Honestly, let me see. Yeah, technical difficulties. I can't really, at this point, I have to let it go because I can't keep interrupting the webinar. For those who miss it, they'll just get the replay. But yeah, I do have a degree in music. It's not something that makes or breaks my business, my qualifications or business. You can still be a great musician, a successful musician without a degree. So that's something I wanted to kind of put out there. But anyways, within 2 to 3 months of starting, I ended up with over 20 students. And then fast forward a few years later, my business expanded to online where I sold courses to over 500 students. And as of right now, my email list is at about, I think, 4,000 to 5,000 subscribers, somewhere around there. So yeah, I've come a pretty long way. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into this. So multiple revenue streams. My absolute favorite one, and I'm gonna tell you why this is super important. If you do not have a subscription program implemented in some way into your music brand, you really need to do it because, as we say in the marketing world, subscriptions or continuity is the bloodline of your business. If you do not have continuity, you do not have a business. And the obvious reason why it's important is because it is a more consistent, steady income as opposed to one-off services. Let me just close my window here. There's a window that I'm looking at that you guys cannot see. So give me a second here. So there's different programs that you can use to launch a subscription program, depending on the kind of content that you want to share. So you can do Vimeo if you want to do video content. They allow for paid subscription programs. There's Teachable, and Teachable I'm going to come back to a little bit later, but Teachable allows you to sell courses online, but it also allows you to set up subscription programs where people can access one course or a bundle of courses for a subscription fee. I actually have a membership program for my piano site. It's called the Online Piano Training Program, and people can enroll for like $29 a month, and they're just paying to have access to the courses that are already up there. And then there's Patreon, which is one of my favorites because Patreon is tailor-made to creatives like musicians and artists and photographers, people who create content, and you can upload different types of media. So the different types of content that you can offer in subscription services, you can host private concerts, you can do jam sessions, you can offer live backstage footage, you can do fan credits for your music content. So what I've seen people do is, if you, let's say if you're a patron and you're upgrading your membership program, the artist will actually have your name as a credit in their next music project. So you can have that kind of thing available for them. You can do music tutorials, which is an obvious one. You can do exclusive or early release content. That could be videos, that could be music Q&A, etc. I'm gonna give you some examples of people who are actually doing this. So there's this one artist named Bernadette. I'm actually going to open her thing right now. So let me close out of this guy here. If anyone's registered late, then they're just late. So here's one profile on Patreon. So she teaches music and she has different tier levels, right? So she has a $5 a month tier level, $10 a month. So for each upgrade, you get extra features, right? She has over 1,000 112 patrons. And that's a mixture of people who are enrolled in these different tier levels, right? So let's just say, all of them are enrolled in the $5 a month tier level. She's making or at least $5,000 a month through her patrons on Patreon. Another example is a guy named Trevor Wong. He has a similar setup where he has $3 a month, $10 a month, other tier levels, and he has 402 patrons giving him money a month to access exclusive content. So let's say that they're all on the $3 a month membership. That means he's making at least $1,200 a month off of these membership programs. So when it comes to having issues with gigs, at the very least, you'll have money coming in from continuity programs. You'll still be able to create content online and still be able to make money that way. So subscription programs is something you definitely want to implement if you don't have that already. Another one, which was actually, I wasn't going to talk about this initially, but you guys have requested this multiple times, is music licensing. So I will say that this isn't really my exact department, but I did some research, and there are a couple of websites that can get you up and running. BroadJam is one of them. So let me just show you what that one looks like. So BroadJam, the way BroadJam works, and they've been around for a while. So BroadJam, you're able to upload your music that you want to license, and you're able to actually access a directory of TV shows or programs or people who are looking for music for their commercials, for their shows, or for whatever they're trying to do, and you can submit your music to that particular person. And then BroadJam will keep track of, who's reviewed your music, who's accepted it, who's rejected it, etc. So this is a good way to get your music submitted to different programs that are actually looking to license or to get music for their whatever they're working on. Another one, now these guys, I'm pretty sure they're familiar to you guys. CD Baby is a company that generally gets your music streamed to different websites, but I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, that they also help you get your music licensed to different companies. And the way they do that is they actually just push your music to different agencies and whatnot and try to get your music licensed to different companies. So that's another way that you can get your money online when it comes to music licensing. And along the same lines, you can also arrange music for other people. So I know people who actually do this. So that's another thing that you can do. Let me just backtrack for a second. A scalable way that you can get your music out there for licensing is paid advertising, which I'll cover in more detail a little bit later. But another thing that you can do is online concerts, which a lot of people are doing nowadays, especially since people can't leave the house over this whole coronavirus thing. As of this webinar, I'm not sure if you guys are aware that Erykah Badu is actually having an online concert where she's doing like a performance at her house, in her bedroom, and she's only charging people $1 to access that live concert. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but if you look at her followers, even if she gets 10,000 people, out of her millions of followers to pay for that admission, that's $10,000 she made. And to take it a step up or a step further, let's say she did one concert a month and then she turned that into a subscription. That means she can have 10,000 people paying her $1 a month each for one concert. So again, if she wanted to do that, she could turn that into some kind of continuity income. And the cool thing about doing online concerts, for those of you who have done events, obviously you wouldn't have to worry about having to pay for a venue, having to pay for a DJ, having to pay all these people to put a physical event together. So it kind of evens itself out, right? So that's one thing. And then there's also virtual lessons. So virtual lessons can be conducted as private or group lessons. And there's different apps you can use for that. But the cool thing about virtual lessons is, along the same lines of subscriptions, is that it brings in recurring and stable income like subscription programs. And obviously it can be lucrative because I'm not sure if you guys are aware that the average hourly rate for online lessons is about $60 an hour. I probably wouldn't go less than that. If you are a more experienced teacher, then you can probably charge a bit more. But that's like the average going rate for doing private lessons online. And it's an easy setup. You can do Zoom, you can do Skype, you can do FaceTime, and you can do it with a simple stand or a simple mount. The setup is super, super easy. And the biggest advantage to virtual lessons versus in-person lessons is that it can be done anywhere. And it allows it allows mobility for you, and it also allows you to travel. So if you decide to relocate somewhere, then your income will not be affected by you not being physically somewhere to do a physical lesson. And there's something that's really important that I want to go over when it comes to virtual lessons, especially for those who haven't done it. This is a mistake that I made when I first started. I did not have a policy before offering lessons. So I'm trying to avoid a train wreck for you guys if you guys decide to take this route. These are some super important points. Have your students pay you up front. Please do not let them bully you into, oh, I'll just pay you per lesson. Just don't do it, okay? Because most programs, like people who offer swimming lessons or karate, most of them have you pay up front. Either it's by the month, it could be by the semester, it could be by the year. Because here's what happened to me, right? When I first started, I kind of was like, oh, they can just pay for each lesson. I got so many no-shows, guys. And it was disappointing because I was leaning on that money to come in and people just wouldn't show up for lessons. So what I did was, or what I have now in my policy is, let's say for June, they have to pay for the month of June by the last week of May, right? I almost forgot what month comes before June. It's May. May comes before June. So the last lesson in May, they have to pay for the lessons in June. And if there are any missed lessons in May, I would just credit it over. And speaking of canceled lessons, also have a cancellation policy in place. And that can be different for each person. So for mine, the way it works is if I cancel on a paid lesson, I owe them that credit no matter what. So if I miss a lesson, if I cancel a lesson in April, then I owe them a credit or a free lesson in May. Now, if the student cancels, they have to cancel before 24 hours in order to qualify for that credit. So they can't, cancel at the last minute, 5 minutes before the lesson, and then expect me to credit that lesson. That's not how that works. You have to be courteous of people's schedules. So some other schools that I know, they have a no refund policy. So, the student can cancel 2 weeks prior and they still will not get that refund, or they will not get that credit. So the cancellation policy can vary, but just make sure you have one in place. It's really important to do that, because you can't expect people to have some level of integrity and actually consider your schedule. And when it comes to having people pay up front, then the no-show rate drops to pretty much zero, because they had to pay for those lessons. They're going to show up, right? So when it comes to managing your payments, your schedule, there are a few tools you can use online. One is My Music Staff. I don't use this myself because I technically don't need it, but the reason why this is such a highly recommended site is because it is all in-house. So you can use it to, let me just go over there just 1 second. As you can see, I have all my tabs already open for you guys. So this is My Music Staff. You can use this to manage your schedule, even if you are a solo teacher or if you have a studio where you have teachers working under you. This works for both setups, right? So you can handle your schedule. You can allow students to pick their time slots. You can allow students to reschedule. You can exchange documents. You can exchange assignments. I think it even allows you to do like practice logs. And it also allows for invoicing, right? So you can have them pay an invoice online through this app. So you can do all of that within this one app. So this would definitely be a good investment, especially if you are planning on having a full studio where you're having other teachers teach in your studio. This would be a great app for that. What I use for me, because it's just me, I actually just use my iPhone for my calendar, and I use Zoho Invoice to send out invoices. So all I do is I just have invoices created, right? So Zoho is another good website if you want something that's a bit simpler. You can create electronic invoices and then send it out to your students, and then they can just pay online directly on the invoice. They can use a credit card, they can use PayPal, however they want to pay, they can do it directly on Zoho invoice. And they also give the option, if they choose not to do online payment, they can also just, pay through cash or check, and then you can manually mark in that they pay through cash or check. Wrong window. I was trying to go through Skype here, not Skype. My brain is dying right now. I was trying to say Keynote here. All right. Now here is one of my favorite topics. This is right up my alley. Creating online courses. Why online courses? Number one, it is scalable. That is the one thing that creating online courses has over virtual lessons, because obviously you can only have but so many hours available to teach. Online courses eliminates that limitation. So you can have as many students as you want, and you do not have to be present to teach because your courses are pre-recorded. So all you have to do is just publish it, and then it sells itself at that point. And to take things to the next level, you can bundle your courses into a self-operated subscription program. Again, you can use apps like Teachable, which I'll go over Teachable in a second, but you can have one course or have a bundle of courses to charge people a subscription program a month just to maintain access to those courses. So there's different setups that you can have in terms of having your students pay one time. You can have them on a payment plan, you can have them on a subscription. There's different ways you can set up your online courses. So let's go into being able to build and publish an online course. I'm just going to go over some basics. I'm not going to overwhelm you guys, just something to get you guys started. And feel free to ask any questions, because I am checking in to see if you guys are, asking me anything. If you guys get stuck, if you guys are getting confused, please let me know. Give me some feedback, because I will be checking in as I'm doing this webinar. All right. So the first thing on building a course is to build the curriculum, right? A lot of people tend to get lost in this area because they tend to get a little scatterbrained about what they should teach. I have a particular curriculum process. The first thing that I do is I just write down in no particular order all the topics I want to cover in my course, right? So let's say for piano, I might want to cover scales, I might want to cover sheet music, I might want to cover key signatures, I might want to cover the black keys, things like that. Just overall topics you want to cover. Well, black keys is more specific, but you get the idea, right? So overall topics you want to cover. Once you write all of those down, then you want to put them in order of what you think should be taught first, second, and third. And then these topics will become what's called your modules. And modules are kind of just big sections in your course that contain different lessons within that module, which, by the way, after you put your modules together, then you itemize each module into more detailed tutorials. And then these will be your lessons within your modules. So that's pretty much how you can put a course together. And once we're done with this, you'd be surprised just how simple it is to put a course together. I think a lot of people have this idea that putting a course together is like this big production. It really isn't. Like, there are courses that I put up from recording it to publishing it in a day, So speaking of that, recording. So the next step would be to obviously put the course together by way of recording, editing, and setup. And I get a lot of questions about this. So the first thing I'm going to address is there is no specific fancy equipment you need to use. A lot of people get caught up in having this whole studio set up. They need to have this camera, need to have that camera. And people tend to get stuck with thinking that they have to spend all this money to put this course together because they need all this fancy equipment. And the reality is, guys, your students are not paying for equipment. They're paying for results. There's not one of the hundreds of courses I've sold, there's not one student who's asked me, what equipment have I used? And said, oh, well, if you're not using this camera or this, equipment over here, I'm not buying the course. That's not what they're thinking. All they're thinking is, can I get to play piano, and can I see what you're doing? Or can I see what you're doing very clearly? That's really all you need. And if anything, as far as the camera, it can be as simple as your iPhone or your Android. I have an iPhone, don't judge me. Uh, you can do your laptop webcam, or like what I did for my piano courses, I just bought a Logitech webcam from Walmart, and now it's maybe like $70, $80. It's a bit clearer than the laptop webcam, but I'm just giving you guys an example of how simple this can be. And literally, I recorded all my video tutorials with a Logitech webcam from Walmart and sold the course for $100. So, and people are buying them, and they're not concerned about what equipment I'm using. So don't let that be a barrier in terms of making your courses and being able to publish them. Now, for editing, same thing. It shouldn't be anything. Now, unless you want to do all those fancy graphics and whatnot, I'm not that person. I like to just do things like one and done, get it out there, right? Because you don't want to be that person that gets so caught up in graphics. Again, people don't care about graphics. They care about results, right? So you can do something as simple as iMovie if you have a MacBook. I'm not sure if they have some kind of movie editor on a PC, but I'm pretty sure you can probably just download something simple. For me, I just do cropping, right? I just trim videos, I just trim out what I don't want, and I'm done. Again, I don't do the graphics thing. People don't care about graphics. Just don't let that be something that stops you from being able to get your course up and running. So for screencast recording, now, as you can see my screen, if you decide that you want to do some screencast recording where you want your students to see what your computer screen looks like, you can use apps like Screencast-O-Matic. I think that one is like $15 a year. It's super cheap. Now, for those who do want to get a little technical in terms of adding graphics and whatnot, then Camtasia would be another good option. It's just a little bit more expensive. I think it's like a one-time fee of like 200 and some change dollars. But just keep that in mind. You do have these options when it comes to recording and creating your courses. Again, please do not get stuck on this part. Make it as simple as possible, unless you're doing a course on video production, which most of us are musicians. Most of us are probably doing courses on how to play guitar, or how to play drums, or how to play keyboard. Don't get caught up in the fancy stuff, all right? So the next phase would be how to publish your online course. Again, this is a simple process because most of the online course platforms have basic features such as building out your website for your courses, uploading multiple types of media. It could be audio, it could be video, it could be text, PDF, quizzes, etc., to allow you to build your sales pages and allow you to build your sales pages and take payments. Let me see. Somebody is raising their hand. What are you guys saying? What is this? Hold on, guys. I think someone said something in the did someone raise their hand in here? I'm just trying to figure out who it was. Let's see. I can't see it. I'm sorry, guys. So here are three sites that I highly recommend, but Teachable is the main one. Teachable is actually the one that I use for multiple reasons. Let me just show you what it looks like here. So Teachable allows you to build and sell courses super easy. Let me see, go to questions. I think you guys are trying to say something to me and I cannot see what you guys are saying. Sorry about that. I'll check in a little bit later. So Teachable, again, allows you to build, sell, and publish your courses online. And what I really like about Teachable is it is everything in-house. It takes your students' payments. It allows them to create their own student accounts online. It also handles, if you have, let's say, payment plans or subscriptions available to them, Teachable automatically keeps track of who's making payments, who's lapsed on their payments. It sends out automatic emails to people who are missing their payments, and it gives them like multiple attempts. If they miss their payment, then Teachable automatically unenrolls them. So you wouldn't have to do that manually. Degraded audio says, you may be experiencing degraded audio quality in your recording. Can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure that I'm still here. Okay, how do you make your courses stand out from the rest of the market? That is a good question. So here's the thing, right? It's not really about, well, okay, there's this term in marketing called unique selling point, right? Everything that you do has to have a unique selling point. So you have to kind of be creative when it comes to how you make your course different. So for example, for my piano courses, What makes my piano course different than most others is that it teaches both sight reading and learning by ear, right? So that's one way to make your course stand out from the rest. But one thing that's going to always draw people in is if you give them some kind of sample experience of what it's like to work with you up front. If you implement that, then that's what's going to pull them into what you're offering. So that's a really important thing to add, is to make sure that you give them a taste of what it's like to do business with you. Oh, thank you, Alex. Thank you. It's very nice of you. I'm glad that I'm helping you guys out here. But again, okay, I'm gonna give you guys an example. When I was running ads, I'm still running ads. What am I talking about? I'm still running ads on Google, which I'll talk about later. And the video that I'm running that people see is a video that teaches people piano in less than 2 minutes. And that's the first thing I say in the video. I say a piano lesson for beginners in under 2 minutes. That by itself is the hook. So you need to have a hook for what you're offering up front, especially if it's an ad, because people are going to just look at it just out of curiosity. They're going to be like, oh, you can't teach me piano in no 2 minutes. And then when I do it, they're like, holy smokes, she actually taught me piano in 2 minutes. And then I tell them, okay, log in, or, if you're interested in learning more from me, click on this button and submit your name and email. And just because I gave them that experience up front, they're going to, want to learn more from me. So that's one way to make your product or your brand stand out. Give them an experience that they want more of, if that makes sense. So back to Teachable. So Teachable is one option. There's another feature that Teachable has that I like, and I'm going to go over that feature a little bit later. Thinkific is another good website, and also Kajabi. So they all pretty much have very similar features. Let me see. Is there an example of what your videos look like? Let me see. If I have time at the end of the webinar, I may be able to pull up that same video I was just talking about. But the problem is I'm not sure the quality of this microphone in terms of, you know what? Actually, what I might do is I might just send you guys a link in the chat box a little bit later. Just remind me to do it at the end of the video. I think that would be better if you guys can hear it on your actual computers versus trying to hear it on mine. And then there'd be some horrible feedback with the microphone. But yeah, what I would do is for Kajabi, for Thinkific, for Teachable, I'm not sure which ones have free trials. They do have different membership levels. So I would definitely look into which of the pricing tiers is right for you, and then which features each of them has, and figure out which one is best suits what type of course you're offering. So that is for creating online courses. That's just, again, some basics. I may do a course on this later, but that's not what I'm thinking about right now. Now the next step. So once you have your products and stuff up and running, now you want to start driving traffic to your website. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of musicians make this mistake where they just kind of send people to their website and hope for the best. That is not that is not the way to do it. That's like a traditional way. But here's the thing. The focus is to streamline your traffic, to take all the actions you want them to take as soon as possible. And the streamline is called a sales funnel. How many of you, answer in the question box, how many of you have heard of the sales funnel, or how many of you have never heard of the term sales funnel? I just kind of want to see how familiar you guys are with this term, to see if I have to kind of go to, okay, so Kevin said he's heard of it. Okay, so basically, for those who are not familiar with the sales funnel, a sales funnel is basically a process that you take your prospects through, where they go through each of the actions you want them to take, whether it's, oh wow, you guys never heard of it. Wow, a lot of you. Okay, so someone's heard of ClickFunnels, which is great. So ClickFunnels is basically a website that focuses on nothing but sales funnels. But for those who need to get caught up, a sales funnel is, you ever go on Facebook, right? You ever click on an ad, and then the ad asks for an email, and then you submit your email address, and then they take you to another page where they want you to buy something, and if you buy it, then they take you to another page. That whole process you just went through is called a sales funnel. And the reason why that's important is because, when you streamline someone through a tunnel vision, if that's even the right term, a one-track process, it keeps them from being distracted doing other things, right? So I'll go into that a little bit more in detail in a minute. But some main goals of a sales funnel is to collect contact information for prospects for your for your email list up front, and or collect sales. So just in the same fashion that some of you guys have seen my opt-in form for the webinar, that's an upfront portion of a sales funnel that you guys have went through, right? So that's an example. So let's say you're selling music, right? So a few examples of sales funnels is, let's say you're running an ad and you're running a video ad where you're sampling some of your music, and you tell them, hey, if you want some more free music, sign up for my email list. That's the first step of the sales funnel, right? And then once they sign up, you can take them to a sales page where you can sell them something. It could be actual music that you have on sale. It could be an album. It could be ticket sales. It could be merchandise. It could be something, or it could be a course, and then you take them to checkout. And here is some other next level stuff. There's a term called an upsell. And an upsell is basically the would you like fries with that effect, right? So when you buy something, you ever go on Amazon and you make a purchase, and then on the thank you page, they give you all these other options of things that you can buy based on what you just bought. Those are examples of an upsell. So back to Teachable, that is the one feature that Teachable has that I absolutely love. If someone enrolls in my course, right, my flagship course, the one that's $100, then they immediately go to a thank you page that says, thanks for buying this course, check out this other thing here. And then it allows me to build out a sales page for my membership program. And on that upsell page, I offer them a free 30-day trial for the program, right? So because Teachable already collected their information, their card information, etc., for the first course, they don't have to enter their card information again. So that's what's called a one-click upsell, where they can just choose to say yes or no and keep it moving. So these little details make the biggest difference when it comes to maximizing your sales for what you're selling, right? So another example of a sales funnel, especially if you're offering, let's say, virtual lessons, then that might be a simpler process. So you can run an ad for lessons and then just have them send in their information on a sign-up form, and then you can just call them from there, and then you can close the sale over the phone. Now, one question a friend of mine asked me earlier, and I will repeat it, was, what should be on that form? You want to try to make it as simple as possible, because you don't want to be that person that goes, oh, name, email, phone number, what are your goals in the next 6 months? What's your social security number? What's your account? You don't want to put too many questions. Just get their name, their email, their phone number, because studies show the more fields you put in, the less you get people to sign up, or the less people sign up. So the idea is get their name, email, phone number, and then whatever other information you need from them, just get it on the phone. So that's a simple practice when it comes to building your opt-in forms for people who are requesting for virtual lessons, right? So speaking of email lists, and another mistake that musicians make is that they overlook the power and the importance of an email list. If you do not have an email list on your website right now, you are losing out on so much money. And I'm going to tell you why. Your email list is going to be the most important asset of your business, even over social media. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think we had an outage on Facebook recently, or they were having some kind of malfunctions. And I think there was an incident a couple of years ago where Facebook and Instagram were out, I think, for like a few hours, and no one could log in. So imagine your business is relying on strictly Facebook and Instagram, and you can't log in to access your fans. You'd be kind of in a difficult situation there, right? So if you have an email list outside of social media, you don't have to worry about that. And the other thing is that it's a list that you own, right? And speaking of social media, if you guys have a fan page, you may have noticed that when you post something, Facebook/Instagram, because Facebook and Instagram are one and the same, you may notice that Facebook doesn't reach your entire likes or your entire list of followers, right? So when it comes to email marketing, there's actually a study that says email marketing, especially if it's done right, outperforms social media by up to 20 to 40 times. So let me just break down those numbers for you. Let's say I can actually show you guys. I'm not going to do it right now, but there was a video that you guys have probably seen of me talking about how to do bookkeeping and taxes and whatnot. Now, I shared that to my fan page of over 11,000 likes on Facebook, right? And Facebook had the nerve to tell me that it only reached 600 people. So you mean to tell me that out of 11,000 people, you know, there's 10,400 folks who haven't even seen the post, because that's Facebook's way of getting you to pay them to reach the rest of your folks. Not that paying Facebook is a bad thing, but why should I have worked so hard over the years to get that large following only to reach what, less than 10% of them, right? Now, let's say I had 11,000 subscribers. If I sent out that same video in one email and sent out that one email, guess how many inboxes are going to get that email? 100%, maybe no less than 99% if you include bounces and whatnot. But the reach is going to be so much higher, and you don't have that middleman telling you, oh, well, yeah, you sent out this one email, but we're only going to send it to, you know, X amount of inboxes. You completely bypass that by having an email list outside of social media, right? And it's a list. This is the other reason why email lists are extremely important. It is a list that will bring you income over time. So even if you decide not to invest in paid advertising, if you have an email list of 10,000 people, as long as you're producing content, that's a list that you can always push your new content to. So you're always going to have a list that's ready to do business with you, that's ready to buy from you. And you won't have to, again, go through some middleman to promote to that list. So if you do not have an email list or some kind of thing set up where you can collect emails from people, I would do that right away. MailChimp is a good option for beginners. There's other email marketing providers. I think there's Vertical Response, there's Constant Contact, there's other people, but MailChimp is a good start. Now, the next level, which most of you have become victim of, is SMS marketing. So the text that you guys have been getting, that's actually not my phone number. Sorry, spoiler alert. I actually use an SMS marketing program called Simply Texting. And just in the same fashion that email marketing is more effective than social media, I've discovered by being able to individually interact with you guys that SMS marketing, if you decide to do that, is more effective than email. Because the reality is, most people don't check their emails, but they will check their phone. And they will get that notification if you decide to push new music to your fans through a text list versus an email list. They will get it a lot faster than they would if they were to have an email list. But either way, it's good. Start with email lists and then maybe do texting a little bit later. Now, the best ways to drive traffic to your site. So one of the questions that one of you guys had asked me about is how to build your site in a way where it's going to be most effective. So here are some rules, right? When people first visit your site, your email sign-up form should be the first thing they see. Please do not let them get lost on your site, or it will hurt your brand. So what that means is people go on your site, right? They see all these menu tabs, they see all these ads, they see all these blog posts, they see all these different things going on. They're going to get distracted, and chances are what you're trying to offer them or what you're trying to sell them is on some other page that they don't even know exists. So streamline your website. Get their email first and then streamline from there. So again, on the thank you page of the sign up form, offer a product. Make sure that is streamlined as well. And make sure your homepage is easy to follow and not busy. So just kind of going back to what I was just talking about, making sure that, people are not getting distracted with other things that are not pertinent to them doing business with you. So also list the items on your homepage from the most important call to action to the least important. So email should be at the top. If you want them to buy a particular thing, whether it be a course, whether it be, music, merchandise, that should be the next thing. So whatever call to action you want them to take, they should be listed on your site from most important to least important. Because if it's at the top, those important things will be the first thing that they see, right? So again, make it easy. And here's the kicker. Check this out, because a lot of people also ask me, do you really need a website? Technically, you don't, because sometimes you don't need to send visitors to a whole site. Sometimes you can just send them right to an opt-in page. Like some of you actually have seen, most of you guys who opted into this webinar didn't have to go to my website. You just, opted into a form that is not attached to my website, or you just inbox me, and go from there. So you can send them right to an opt-in page and then just streamline from there. So if you don't have a website, I would not stress over it. In most cases, you would just need like a simple opt-in form, and then you kind of just go from there, if that makes sense. Now, some free and low cost connection. Okay, are we back? Can you guys see me again? Can you guys see me? Please chime in. Okay. Yeah, I knew I was gonna have some connection issues, but I'm on top of it, so I'm back. Okay, I'm back. I'm glad you guys stayed around. All right, so back to what I was saying is when it comes to low cost and free targeting options, or free marketing options, it's great because it's free, but there is going to be a cost to that. It may not be money, but it certainly will be time. So, most organic methods are time consuming and they're also a slow build. But here are some ways that you can get some free marketing out there. Traditional flyers is still not obsolete. This is actually how I started. So when I first was in college, I literally just ordered like 5,000 flyers for about maybe, I don't know, $200, right? And I went out every single day during that summer, and I made sure, like the way I operate is I kind of calculate things backwards. So if I wanted certain results, then I need to figure out how much work I had to put in to get those results. So if I know, for example, I have to pass out at least 100 flyers to get one student. If I wanted to get 20 students, I need to pass out 2,000 flyers, right? And if I want to have, let's say 20 students within a month, that means I would have to pass out 2,000 flyers within 30 days, right? So that's what I did. At the time, I made sure I passed out at least 100 flyers door to door each day, every day for the summer. And then that's how I got started, right? And then after you get those first few students, then if you want to kind of just back off of doing the physical work of flyers, then you can do referral incentives, right? And referrals work well, especially for private lessons and courses. So here's some examples of what you can do, right? So what I do is for my students, I offer one free lesson for each referral that a student gets to book with me. And I'm telling you guys, this works so well that I actually had to turn students away because I was filled to the brim. I was getting texts and calls from people saying, yeah, so-and-so referred me to you. I want to know if you have lessons, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, I can't take any more students. You guys, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. So definitely want to do referrals. And especially for sites like Teachable, if you want to publish courses online, they have this program called an affiliate program, where if you have students who know a lot of people who would be interested in your course, then you can offer them a commission for each course that student sells on your behalf, right? So Teachable allows you to do that automatically, where if you add that person as an affiliate, you can set whatever commission you want for that person, and then that person will get a custom link from Teachable saying that, okay, whoever goes to this link, they will basically enroll, and that commission will go to that person automatically. So that's another thing that you can do. And for those who do have a good following, you can also do referral contests, you can do viral contests, you can do voting contests, and then for people to participate, they would have to enter, guess what? Their email, their email, and then you can just grow your list from there. Another thing that you can do, even if you don't have a following, you can collaborate with other musicians. This is another thing that I did that worked really well. This can come in the form of either making music with them, or you can even do an interview with them or even feature them on your platform. So you can do a simple podcast interview, because what they're going to do most of the time is they're going to share with their fans, hey, I'm being interviewed by this person, on this website, check it out. And then that's another way that you can drive organic traffic to your website. So as soon as they go to your website, you'll have that email sign up form ready for them, and then just go from there, right? So some free methods to use. And then my favorite one, paid traffic methods. So this would involve obviously Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So the obvious pro is that it's scalable. So paid traffic can work beyond what you're physically able to do, right? But the con is, if it's not set up correctly, it can be costly. So there is a right way to do it. There's a strategy to it. It's just, and there is a bit of a trial and error, period where you do have to spend a little money to kind of, get it right. But there is a strategy where you can scale without having to come out of pocket to get students, to get sales, to get all those things. So when it comes to Facebook or Instagram, which again is owned by Facebook, or YouTube, which is owned by Google. And oh, by the way, if you do want to run YouTube ads, you do have to create a Google Ads account. So Google is connected to YouTube in that sense. But the point is, both platforms, there's also Pinterest and there's also LinkedIn, some other platforms, but they're great platforms to start with, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, to drive cold traffic to your sales funnel. And for those who don't know what cold traffic is, it's just brand new traffic, brand new people who've never heard from you or never heard of you. It's a great opportunity for you to get brand new music and your products and services out to new people. Now, the important thing you need to know is that each platform has a bunch of tools for your ads to perform at their best. And one of them is being conversion tracking. I actually talked about this at my NAM presentation, so I'm not sure if you guys have seen my presentation at the NAM show, talking about paid advertising and how musicians can tap into it. But one of the features is conversion tracking. And the way that works is conversion being, let's say someone converts from a visitor to a buyer, right? That's considered a conversion. Or someone who goes from visiting your website to being a subscriber. Those are examples of conversions. So what Facebook and Google can do is, if you have your conversion tracking set up correctly, they'll be able to track who is converting on your site. And they'll use their AI material or whatever they use to learn about who's actually responding to your ad. And what it will do in turn is it'll start to send more people who are just like the ones responding to your ad. Because as we know, Facebook and Google know pretty much everything about us. So they'll use that information to be able to optimize or make sure that your ad is running at its best. So I can't get into the actual tools today because we'd be here for like another 5 hours. I'm not going to do that. But just know that those options are available. And each platform also has dialed in targeting options. So you can target people who are most likely to invest in you. So for example, let's say you're selling R&B and soul music, right? Then you want to target people with obviously an interest in key R&B and soul artists. So another example, let's say if I'm teaching virtual lessons and I know that my target market is parents, right? Then I would want to use those targeting options, target people who have kids within certain age levels. Facebook allows you to do that. Facebook allows you, and Google as well, allows you to have, target people who have an interest in after school activities, because most of my students are in other after school activities. So those are some examples of targeting options you can use, whether you use Facebook or Google/YouTube, right? So here's the thing. This is maybe like an hour. We're an hour into this webinar. So I'm pretty sure that the information that I've given you, let me see. Someone says, can we get a PDF version of your slides? Yes. You know what? I will do that. I was thinking about that, and I should have uploaded this PowerPoint to the webinar. But what I will do is I will send it to each of you because I have your information. So I will do that. So here's the thing. Even with that information, that is just the tip of the iceberg, because you can get a lot done with this information I've given you. But honestly, I'd be remiss if I did not put my own advice into practice. So these are all some basic tips. But if you want to get the full breakdown on how to get your income on autopilot, then I have something that you guys will truly love that will transform your music brand. Because the reality is, guys, you can have all this technical stuff set up, but if you do not have the component of knowing how to sell and knowing what to say to your visitors to convince them to buy from you, then all of this that you build becomes null and void, right? So I do have something that's going to help you in that area. So I want to show you my Money Making Musician course. So my course is built to help musicians create a thriving income from their music career. And the feedback that I've gotten from a lot of you guys is you guys trying to get out of your daytime job, you're trying to get into music full time. This course is absolutely for you. So, as we all know, the industry has changed over the past few decades. You know, we're kind of going from the record label into the indie era, but the problem is with all these tools that we have, even with no middleman, we don't know what to do with these tools. So, this course is basically built to teach you how to put all those tools together to be able to work and work properly. So this course is the only tailor-made course for musicians that will show you step by step how to quickly build a fan base that will generate revenue multiple times over. So just revisiting what I was saying about the email list to help you make money, this is the course that will teach you how to zero in on that. So here's what comes with the course. I'm actually going to show you what the inside of the course looks like so you guys can see kind of how it works. But here's the thing. What it will teach you is how to create catchy headlines. Remember I was telling you about different hooks? You need to hook your audience into what you're trying to offer them, right? So we'll go into that, how to create catchy headlines to grab your audience's attention, what you need to say to get your fans waiting for new content from you. You'll also learn what key components to add to your sales pages, opt-in pages, because what you say on each page matters. It really, even on the opt-in page, it absolutely matters. Someone says, you know anything about jingles, or does that go under? I would say that would go under music licensing, Kevin. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of tapping into the questions here. So you'll learn how to figure out what to say, the right things to say on your sales pages, opt-in pages, and your ads, which is probably the most important, to pull fans in and have them pulling out their wallets. And also how to put effective storytelling in place to allow your fans to connect with you as an artist and also to connect with your content. And here's the cool part, right? Key scripts to encourage your fans to buy your content the same day. I failed to tell you guys that of all the courses that I've sold, I'm talking about the $100 courses, I would say about 90% of them were bought the same day from people who had originally never heard from me. So you may hear people say, oh, well, you need them to build a relationship from you before you start selling things to them. It is not. It is absolutely not true. You can sell something to someone who has just heard of you. So I would say that the time frame between them seeing my ad for the very first time and then buying my course for $100 was maybe like 20 minutes. So, and that's extremely important. So this course covers how you can build a system that is very similar to that. And it's important because you can take that money, right? You can take that revenue and double it back into your ads so the ads will pay for themselves, right? So the course will teach you how to do that. Practices that will allow you to generate revenue every single time you release new content, and how to effectively use free and paid advertising. So I did some surfacey information about Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, but in this course, I'm actually going to go into Facebook and YouTube's platform to show you guys how to tap into those tools I was telling you about, how to set up tracking conversions, how to set up targeting. So if you're not tech savvy, then this course will make things super, super easy for you. So as far as results, you will have your email list and fan base growing in front of your eyes. Literally, you can turn on an ad, and by the end of the day, you can have 10 new emails, 50 new emails, 100 new emails, as many emails as you actually want, right? and increasing your chances of increasing your music revenue in as short as a few weeks, and ultimately allowing you to spend time or spend less time having to do physical footwork of promoting your music or touring, and to spend more time with your family and friends and travel and create music on your own time. So you would have to spend less time worrying about where you're going to get new fans from. You know that you have a system that is generating fans for you, right? So I'm going to go into what the actual course looks like. Let me just show you. I'm actually going to look into the course here. This is what it looks like, right? And I failed to tell you guys that I actually have a co-course creator. His name is Kelsey Henderson. He is an expert at writing out sales pages for people. So he talks about how to implement all of those magic words of selling and being able to get people to buy from you. He goes over all the components needed to build an effective sales page. And then I come in the second half and go over all the techie stuff. So how to build a sales funnel from scratch, the different components you need. So as you can see, so some of these are audio, some of these are video. And the cool thing about this course is that it's self-paced. So there's no thing where you have to log in at a certain day and time. Like once you enroll, you get access to all of the material and you can access it anytime you want. It could be via desktop, it could be via mobile, it could be however you want. So that's the cool thing about this course, that is completely self-paced. So you get 19 step-by-step video and audio tutorials, demonstrations of examples for each of the lectures to help you easily digest the material, instant digital access to all the course content. You'll also have access to me, because I get that question a lot. Will I be able to ask you questions, Miss Ayana? Yes, you will. You have my email already. You have my cell number, or I'll give you my actual cell number. So if you get stuck, if you have questions, if you need feedback, you will always have access to me as one of the course creators. And the course does not expire. So once you enroll, the course is yours forever. There's no expiration date. There's no time that you have to finish it. It is completely self-paced. And you'll also get private Facebook group access for more one-on-one support, peer review, and feedback from other students, from other members. Again, I say email and phone support. So my question to you guys is, if you knew that implementing the practices of this course could potentially increase your monthly music revenue by at least $1,000, $2,000, or even $5,000 per month, you can see how this course can be worth over $1,000, but that is not what I have for you guys today. So actually, some of these people are my students here. So you can see that they have some rave reviews. Wow, this course is amazing. Each section of the course I look forward to. This course is diverse in what you'll learn. I think Stephen is actually logged into the session here. So I'm not sure if he is, but he also has a review here. So some good things that my students had to say. And also, if you enroll today, you get 2 bonuses. So the first bonus is how to obliterate writer's block when you're writing out your sales pages. That's another $100 value at no extra charge. And bonus number 2 is I go into deeper detail on how to create a paid membership program, fan club, to supercharge your ongoing revenue. So another $100 value at no extra charge. So here's the thing. Here's what I have for you guys. So instead of charging you guys $1,000, which the course isn't even that much, but I'm actually going to bring it even lower. So you can get this course today. And here's the thing. These offers end at the end of this webinar. So you can't, go back to the link later. If you copy and paste it and go back to it later, it's not going to work. But I do have some payment options. You can enroll for either 6-month payments of $99. So just $99, 1 month, month 2, month 3, 4, 5, 6, done. Or you can do 3 monthly payments of $187, or you can just buy it outright for $497. So obviously the way it works is, if you do the one-time payment, it will ultimately be cheaper than 3 months. If you do 3 months, it's ultimately cheaper than 6 months. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually copy and paste each of the enroll buttons here in the chat box. So let me just go ahead and do that. So here is the one for 6 months. And let me know if you can access this these links here. Payments of $99. So I put that up there. Let me know if that link is going to work. And then I'm going to do the 3-month payments of $187. Put that up there. And finally, the one-time payment of $497. So let me know if those links are working. Let me see. Here. So, but here's the reality. Could you afford to keep going down the same road that you're going? Which one's more expensive? You know, if you think about money you'd be losing, not action, and how much money you'd be taking, or how much money you'd be making taking action. And the reality is, if you do this the right way, the course will pay for itself. You know, it's about the same price. So make and teach you how to make money, right? So here's the other thing. I know a lot of other people are thinking that they can hire someone else to do the marketing for them, and I'm telling you guys, that is more expensive than the course. So from someone who's in the marketing world, the starting rate for someone to do the marketing for you is at least $500 a month. That's just, and that's lowballing. You know, the average rate is starting at $1,000 a month. And the reality is, I know that we don't like marketing as musicians, marketing. So one is, I've made sure that this course was tailor-made for musicians, where it's fast. You don't have to learn a lot of tech. You don't have to be bothered with it so much. It's easy to go through. Trust me, I've thought about this. How can I make marketing easy for musicians who already hate marketing? Okay, so I know you have some questions. Just go over some of these guys here. Are you guys? There's no start and finish for that. How long you have access to the course? You can access it forever. Now, if you enroll the course, let's say 2 weeks into it, you're like, this is not for me. You know, I thought that this would, you know, be the modules and what my goals are. There is a 30-day money back guarantee. So it doesn't matter what payment plan you use. If you do the $99 a month, if you rather not go ahead with the course, you can just contact me any kind of way, and I'll just give you that refund within a 30-day time period. So the other question I know you guys have is, how soon can you expect results? That question, or the answer to that, I'm sorry, is actually up to you. So it really depends on how fast or how slow you implement the practices in the course. So I cannot answer that question for you. But again, I'm always going to be here to walk you through the process. As you know, you guys have access to me as far as the teacher. So if you guys need help, I'm always available. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to take about maybe 5 or 10 minutes to get some Q&A. If you guys have questions for me, I'm in the question box right now. If you guys have any questions about anything that I've gone over in the course, if you guys have, in the webinar, if you guys have any questions about what I've gone over here, or any questions about the course, I am in the question box right now. So go ahead and put your questions in. And yeah, I'm ready to answer some questions. And yeah, so let's see what you guys have to say. In the meantime, I'm going to just kind of go back and see if there's anything that I missed as far as what you guys have said. Let me see. Oh, okay, so let me see. Community PDF version. So I will give you guys the PowerPoint. I will do that. Vids. Byron, I'm not quite sure what you mean by vids. Are you asking me if there's videos in the course? Yes. So half of the video or half of the course does have videos in it. So it's very similar to what you just seen today. I go into more detail about some of the topics I talked about in this webinar. And most of my courses, most of my videos are in screencast form. So you get to actually see what I'm doing in the computer. I do know that Kelsey's version is audio because he doesn't really have to demonstrate anything. He's just giving you guys the tools to make sure that your sales pages, your opt-in pages, even your email campaign. So I will teach about how to get your email list up and running, how to best run campaigns, and you'll be able to take what he teaches making sure that you know what to say in the emails to get them what your videos look like. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let me do that right now. I'm actually going to go on to my YouTube site. Can you guys access the links in the chat box actually activating? While I'm looking up this video here. Now the internet wants to act silly. Great. Okay. Let me see. If you guys, let me see. Yeah, the internet's a little bit slow for some odd reason. As you guys can see, it's not all right. Let me see if I can get that one video. So what I'm doing right now, guys, for those who are not aware, I'm showing you guys a video. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see. Nope, that's not the right one. I need to go into my YouTube studio. I'm showing you guys an example of an ad that I used, that I'm actually using as we speak for a Google ad that I'm running. So you guys can get an example of, get some ideas going on what you can use in your videos for when you guys run ads for your business. Hopefully I can get, let's see. I think it's an old video, so I may have to just search for it a little bit. Let me see if I can find it. It's one that has a bunch of views. It's got like a few thousand views on it, so it should be easy to spot if I can find it. Just bear with me. Okay, this is the one. It says piano lessons in 30 seconds. So I have a 2-minute video, and then I have a 30-second video. So let me see if I can do it on YouTube. Bang. So you guys can see a piano lesson for beginners in 30 seconds. I even show the phone where I show the timer of all right, I'm gonna put this in the chat box. Yep. So someone has asked a question. Let's see. I think someone asked a question. I think that was it. So if you guys can see the video, can you guys access the video? Well, if you guys can access the video, you probably will end up leaving the webinar. But if you guys can access that video, please let me know. I'm going to also type it in the answer box here. Is there anything else you guys want me to demonstrate for you guys before I get off of this this live here? For some odd reason, it's not letting me copy and paste to the question box, but you should still be able to access that link. You know what? Let me just go ahead and play the video so you guys can see. I'm not going to make the volume too loud because I don't want there to be distortion. So let me just show you guys what this looks like. A piano lesson for beginners in 30 seconds. Today we'll name the white keys on the piano, which are just named by each of the first 7 letters of the alphabet. Generally, the first note we learn is C, which will always be in the same spot. Notice the black keys are in groups of 3 and 2. C will always be the white key that is on the left of those 2 black keys. Here's another 2 black keys. Here's C. And it goes D after that, then E, then F, then G. After G starts over with A, and then B, and then C again, which starts the sequence over. If this video has helped, then my 3-step video for piano and sight reading for beginners will truly be a treat. To access that video, click the Learn More button now, and thanks for watching. So as you can see, the video was pretty short, which is one of the most important components. So a few things I want to point out about this video that's super important. Number one, the whole effect of the video is to show people that they have the ability to do what they believed they could not do. Because one thing I learned about my audience for online courses, actually, they're older people who are retired. They tried learning piano before and they didn't stick with it. So now they have this belief that they cannot learn piano. So I give them a demonstration that, yes, you can learn piano. And yes, it is that easy. So when they have that experience, it's an emotional experience. Now they're going to go, you know what? I think I can do this. You know what? Let's see what this girl is really about. So she's got this 3-step video. I want to learn more about what she's doing, right? So you have to give them that experience. And the other important component was the call to action at the end. So I told them, make sure you click the button. I even pointed, in the, actually, let me go ahead and turn this, let me turn this screen off. I don't think you guys would need to look at my screen anymore. But I even pointed in the video to click the Learn More button now, because not having a call to action does make a difference because people don't know what they need to do. So you need to give them a command, click the button, and then they'll be able to do that. So I'm guessing no one else has any other questions. So I wanted to thank you guys for sticking around for this now hour-and-a-half webinar. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but it was a lot of fun sharing with you guys some useful tools. And then what I'm going to do after the video is over, I will give you a recording of a replay, and I will also send you guys a copy of the PDF. Dan, you're absolutely welcome. So again, thanks for watching, and I may end up doing another one. I'm not quite sure. I have to recover from this one first. But again, I hope that this has helped, and I'm going to log off. It says, thank you so much for all the great info. Absolutely. That was my biggest concern, was making sure that this information would be useful for you guys. So I'm glad that, again, I'm glad to be able to help. And I'm going to log off now, and I will see you guys soon. Yes, Byron, I'm glad this was useful. I have so much more information, but I cannot put it in one webinar. That was just a snippet, a tiny little snippet. So again, I'm going to log off, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.